Get out of my way, you useless fool!
Get out of my way, you useless fool. You're nothing. Shoppers turned, eyes widening, as laughter and whispers followed him. He didn't care. He was proud, cruel, and convinced she was still powerless. But she didn't stumble. Not anymore. She stood tall, calm, and watched him, hiding a secret he would never guess. Her new husband wasn't just anyone, he was a billionaire. Minutes later, a black luxury car pulled up. Out stepped men in tailored suits, their presence commanding silence in the mall. The same people who had stared at her with pity now looked at her in amazement. This is the story of cruelty, arrogance, and the ultimate reversal of power. What do you think happened the moment he realized who she was with? Hello, family. Welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, because together we are not just telling stories, we are keeping hope alive. Emily stepped off the bus with the kind of quiet that comes from learning how to disappear. No one in her hometown expected her to return. And if they had, they would have expected the same girl who left years ago with nothing but 2 torn bags and a heart cracked by betrayal. Let them think that. It made her life easier. The fewer people who knew the truth, the safer her peace stayed. She pulled her coat tighter and walked down Main Street. Nothing had changed. Same cracked sidewalks, same diners where people still judged through windows. Same memory of how she used to walk home crying because Jason said she embarrassed him. Now she walked with her chin level, steady, careful not to draw eyes. She didn't want to see anyone she knew yet. She wanted a day to breathe. Her phone buzzed. A simple message from Daniel. Here safe? She smiled before she could stop herself. Yes, it's fine. I'll call soon. He replied with a small heart, nothing dramatic, just how he talked to her. Always soft, never pushing, never loud. He let her choose when the world learned she was Mrs. Daniel Hale. No one here even knew she was married. No one knew her life had changed, and for now she wanted it that way. She reached her mother's house before she felt ready. The small porch light flickered like it always had. The doorbell stuck like it had when she was 18. Some things didn't want to be fixed. She lifted her hand to knock. The door opened before her knuckles touched it. Emily. Claire's voice stretched into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Wow, you actually came. Emily forced a gentle smile. Hi, Claire. Claire pulled her into a hug that felt like being trapped in a coat you didn't want to wear. Mom's inside, she's been waiting. Then she leaned back, scanning Emily's clothes in a single sharp sweep. You traveled light. Guess nothing's changed. There it was. The first dig, barely disguised. Emily let it slide. She had learned a long time ago not to wrestle with Claire's pettiness. Claire thrived on reactions. Emily refused to feed her. Inside, her mother stood at the table with a half-cooked dinner. Helen looked older than Emily remembered, though her posture stayed stiff as ever. She turned at the sound of footsteps. Oh, Emily! She wiped her hands on a towel and gave a tired smile, the kind that said she wasn't sure whether to be happy or nervous. You made it. I did. Emily stepped closer. How are you, Mom? Helen hugged her, but lightly. It was warm, but it wasn't home. You should have called ahead, she said. We would have prepared something. I didn't want to fuss, Emily answered. Claire snorted. You don't say. Emily's jaw tightened, but she didn't react. Not yet. Dinner felt like sitting on thin ice. Every sentence broke the surface a little. Her mother asked vague questions about where she'd been, what she'd been doing, who she'd been with. Claire didn't even pretend to hide her interest. Every time Emily paused, Claire leaned forward, waiting for a crack she could prise open. So you're back for good? Claire asked, stabbing her salad like it offended her. Or is this another one of your phases? I'm not here to talk about phases, Emily said quietly. Claire chuckled. Right, of course. You always hated being honest about your mess. Helen sighed. Claire. What? I'm asking a question. Emily placed her fork down. I came home to visit, that's all. That's all? Claire repeated. You vanished for years. You don't call. You don't send a real update. And now you say you're here to visit like we're distant cousins? Come on. Her smile stretched, sharp. What happened? Things fall apart again? Emily felt the old heat building under her ribs, the heat she used to mistake for shame. Now she recognized it as anger she had learned to hold steady. I'm fine, she said. Better than fine. Claire's eyes narrowed. She didn't like answers she couldn't control. Sure. I guess fine is what broke looks like these days. Helen reached out as if to stop her, but Claire lifted her hand. Mom, let's not pretend. Emily doesn't have much to her name. She's not working with a full deck right now. It's okay to admit it, Em. We're family. Emily kept her voice level. What makes you think I'm broke? Claire blinked. Well, aren't you? She said it with a laugh, like the idea of Emily having anything more was ridiculous. Emily almost wanted to tell her. Almost. But she kept the truth tucked deep inside. She'd reveal it when she chose, not when baited. The conversation shifted, but the tension didn't fade. Helen brought out dessert, trying to smooth things over, but Claire kept circling Emily like a shark, waiting for blood. After dinner, Emily excused herself to step outside for air. That was when she heard Claire's voice drifting from the kitchen, sharp and whispering fast. She came back empty-handed, Claire said. I told you she would. She's still desperate and directionless. She'll be easy to use again. Emily froze, eyes lowering as each word sank in. Jason's voice came next, low but clear. Good. That's what I need. If she's desperate, she'll take whatever help I offer. Emily's stomach twisted. Jason was in the house. Claire had let him in. They were talking about her as if she were a project, a tool. Claire laughed. Just play along. She trusts too easily, and she still sees the good in you. It's pathetic, honestly. Jason scoffed. She should. I took care of her for years. Emily pressed a hand to the wall, steadying herself. Claire lowered her voice even more. And you'll get another chance now that she's alone again. Jason sighed. Maybe. Depends how much she hates me for before. Oh, please, Claire said. She still wants you. She's always wanted you. She'll take whatever scraps you give her. Emily shut her eyes, not from tears, but from the sharp sting of recognition. Claire had stayed in contact with him all these years. The same Jason who humiliated her, cheated on her, and painted her as unstable. The same Jason she thought she'd cut out forever. She stepped back, careful not to make a sound. She didn't want to walk in there and show them she had heard. She didn't want them to see how deeply they had underestimated her. Behind her, Jason said something that made Claire laugh hard. She'll be easy to use again. Emily let out a slow breath. No, they won't, she thought. Not this time. She stepped off the porch and walked toward the sidewalk, needing a moment to think, to breathe. The air felt heavier now. Everything inside the house made sense in a way she wished it didn't. Her mother avoiding eye contact. Claire's sharp interest. The easy confidence with which they spoke for her, about her, against her. None of them knew she was married. None of them knew the life she had built. They still pictured her as the girl Jason broke. Emily walked until she reached the corner store, the one she used to stop at after bad days. She paused near the entrance, letting her body calm. Her phone buzzed again. Thinking about you. Everything all right? She typed back. Just family things. Nothing new, Daniel replied. Call if you need me. I mean it. She smiled faintly. I know. She slipped the phone away and stepped inside the store. She needed water, maybe something sweet. She didn't need the pass pressing in from all sides. She picked up a drink and moved toward the checkout line. People shuffled around her, chatting about sales, kids tugging on sleeves, a couple arguing quietly over coupons. Normal things, stable things. Then she heard it, a familiar laugh, confident, mocking, too loud for the space. Jason. He rounded the corner of the aisle, his phone against his ear, his smile wide. He didn't see her yet. He was talking to someone, bragging about something small and stupid, the kind of conversation he always used to have when he wanted attention. She wanted to walk the other way, but she froze for a second, just long enough for him to turn and spot her. Everything in his face changed. Surprise first, then smug satisfaction. Well, look what the wind dragged back. He hung up without saying goodbye and walked toward her with a swagger that made the shoppers glance up. Emily kept her face calm. She didn't want this scene. Not here. Not with strangers. Jason stopped right in front of her. Didn't expect to see you walking around like everything's normal. Figured you'd be hiding at your mom's. She said nothing. He smirked. What's the matter? No comeback today? He stepped closer. Too close. Still soft, huh? That's your problem, Em. Still soft, still weak. Emily reached for the space between them and moved aside, but he shoved her shoulder, not hard enough to knock her over, just enough to humiliate her. Get out of my way, you useless fool. You're nothing. Heads turned. Someone gasped. A cashier paused mid-scan. A little boy stared wide-eyed at the man who seemed proud of himself. Jason chuckled, shaking his head like he pitied her. You still walk around like you're worth something. It's cute. Emily straightened. Calm. Still. Controlled. She refused to bend. She refused to give him one drop of the emotion he wanted. He waited for her to break. She didn't. That annoyed him more than anything. He scoffed loudly and pushed past her, making sure the shove was public enough for everyone to see. She watched him walk away, her heart steady, not shaking this time, not bleeding. She knew something Jason didn't. This wouldn't end how he expected. She turned to leave the store, ready to go back to the house, ready to breathe again. She didn't know yet that he wasn't finished. He wasn't done humiliating her, and she didn't know that minutes from now the entire mall would fall silent because of her. But that moment hadn't arrived. Not yet. She stepped outside, the cool air brushing her face. She checked her watch. Almost time for Daniel's call. She wanted to hear his voice, but not like this. Not when she still carried pieces of Jason's words on her skin. She took one step toward her mother's house. Then she heard a voice behind her. Emily. She knew it was Claire before she turned. Claire walked quickly toward her, cheeks flushed, anger simmering. What did you say to Jason? Emily blinked. Nothing. Why? He just stormed past me like I ruined his life, Claire snapped. I asked him what happened and he said you were being dramatic again. Did you start something with him? Emily stared at her. No, I didn't even talk to him. You must have said something, Claire insisted, stepping closer. Jason doesn't get that worked up over nothing. Ask him, Emily said calmly. Claire scoffed. He won't tell me the truth. You know how he is. Emily raised a brow. I do. Do you? For the first time, Claire hesitated, like the question cut deeper than she expected. Don't start with me. I'm trying to help you. By meeting with him behind my back? Emily asked. Claire froze. Emily didn't say more. She didn't need to. The silence said enough. Before Claire could respond, Emily walked past her. She didn't look back. She didn't see Claire's expression twist from irritation to fear. And she didn't see Jason down the mall corridor, watching them both with a calculating look that meant trouble. She just kept walking, unaware that every step she took was leading her toward the moment everything would turn. Emily returned to her mother's house with her thoughts running in tight circles. She pushed open the front door quietly, hoping to slip in unnoticed. But voices floated from the living room. Her mother and Claire were speaking fast, nervous, their tones sharp like they had been arguing. Emily paused near the hallway, unseen. I'm telling you, she's acting strange, Claire said. She didn't react to Jason at all, not even a tear. Helen's voice trembled. Maybe she's stronger now. Stronger? Or hiding something? Claire shot back. She's being quiet, too quiet. Emily never comes home unless she wants something. Helen sighed. She's our daughter. That never stopped her from causing chaos before. Emily's chest tightened. They believed a version of her that never existed, and they spoke about her like she was a problem to manage, not family to care about. She stepped into the room before they could say more. I'm back. Both women jumped like they had been caught stealing. Claire recovered first. We were just talking about dinner. You disappeared suddenly. I needed air. Emily looked at them both, hoping for something soft, anything that said they wanted her back for real. She found nothing. Helen reached for a glass of water on the table. Are you staying the night? I can make the guest room. Emily hesitated. She didn't want to stay. She didn't feel safe here, not with old wounds opening and secrets hiding in every corner. But leaving now would cause questions she didn't want to answer. "I'll stay," she said. Claire forced a smile. "Good. Maybe we can talk tomorrow. Really talk." Emily nodded but didn't trust the tone. She excused herself to the guest room, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. Her phone buzzed again. "Still okay?" She stared at the message, her fingers hovering over the screen. For a moment she wanted to tell Daniel everything, the whole ugly truth, but she stopped. Not because she didn't trust him, but because she didn't want her first real moment of returning home to be overshadowed by the past. "I'm fine, going to rest," he replied. "Call me if you wake up." She took a deep breath, grateful he never pushed, never assumed, never demanded she open herself on his timeline. She lay back on the bed and closed her eyes. She didn't sleep long. Shouting from the hallway jolted her awake. Claire's voice rang through the house, furious. "How could you let her back in? She ruins everything." Emily sat up, heart pounding. She moved to the door and cracked it open. Claire was in the hall, pacing, talking on the phone. "No, Jason, listen. She's not the same. Something's off. I'm telling you, she's going to cause problems if we don't manage it." Emily's breath stilled. Claire paused, listening. "Then find out." "I don't know. Ask someone. She probably has no one left anyway." Emily closed the door again before Claire could turn around. Every word sank in deeper than she wanted to admit. Claire wasn't worried about Emily's well-being. She was worried about Jason's plans and whatever secret they were hiding from her. Emily stood there for a long moment before deciding she needed to get out of the house. She grabbed her coat and slipped out the back door. The night air carried the soft hum of traffic from the main road. She walked toward the mall a few blocks away. It was open late, and she needed a public place, somewhere she could breathe without feeling judged by the walls. Inside, the crowd moved lazily between stores. Holiday sales signs glowed from every window. People walked around laughing, carrying bags, living uncomplicated lives. Emily walked without looking at anything. She wanted to stop thinking. She wanted to be numb. But fate wasn't done with her yet. She turned the corner into a wide aisle, and there he was again. Jason. He spotted her before she could turn back. His eyes lit up with something mean, something eager. He was still angry, still embarrassed that she hadn't given him the drama he wanted in the store earlier. He walked toward her with that same arrogant swing in his step, like he still owned a piece of her. Emily stayed rooted, calm, unwilling to run. "Well," he said loudly enough for several shoppers to hear, "if it isn't the princess who thinks she's too good to talk to people." Emily kept her voice steady. "I don't want any trouble." Jason laughed. "Too late. You already made a fool out of me back there." "You made yourself look that way," she said, quiet but sharp. His eyes darkened. "You still have that attitude. No wonder everyone gave up on you." A few people nearby slowed their steps. Jason stepped closer, lowering his voice but not his hostility. "You think you're somebody? You're not. You never were. You walked out on the only people who ever put up with you." Emily didn't move. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction. He leaned in. "Do you know what your sister told me earlier? She said you came back broke and desperate. Said you have nowhere else to go. And she's right." Emily flinched before she could stop herself. Jason saw it and smiled. "Still soft," he whispered. "Always soft." Then louder, sharp enough for the crowd to catch. "Don't pretend you have pride now. You're nothing." He shoved her again, harder this time. She stumbled back a step, but didn't fall. She planted her feet and stood tall. People stopped walking. A circle of eyes formed around them. Whispering started. Some pointed. Some laughed awkwardly, not sure what they were witnessing. Jason smirked like he loved the attention. "Look at you. Can't even protect yourself." Emily straightened, her voice low. "I don't need to protect myself from you." "Oh, yes, you do," he said. "You always will." She met his eyes with a calm he didn't expect. "Not anymore." Something shifted in his expression. He didn't like that. He liked her scared, quiet, apologizing for things that weren't her fault. He opened his mouth to spit out another insult, but the sound of tires screeching outside the glass doors cut him off. People turned. A black luxury car rolled to a stop at the curb. Not flashy, but commanding. Expensive without trying. The kind that didn't belong in this small town. Jason frowned. What the hell? The doors opened. Men in tailored suits stepped out. 3 of them. They moved with purpose. Each step confident, controlled, powerful in a way that caught attention instantly. They weren't security guards from the mall. They weren't local police. They belonged to a world far higher than anything inside this building. A hush fell through the space. Even the teenagers who had been laughing at the scene went silent. The men didn't look at anyone except Emily. Jason followed their gaze and slowly turned to stare at her. Emily kept her face calm, though her heart thudded once, hard. She hadn't expected Daniel to send anyone. She had told him she was fine, but he must have heard something in her earlier messages, something she didn't write. The men approached the entrance. The automatic doors slid open. Their polished shoes echoed across the mall floor. Every head turned. One of them stopped a few feet from Emily and bowed his head slightly in respect. "Mrs. Hale," he said clearly, loud enough for everyone around to hear. "We've come to escort you." Jason's face drained of color. Claire, who had just walked in from the other side of the mall, froze in place. Helen, behind her, clutched her purse like it might steady her. Emily stayed still for a moment, letting the silence stretch, letting the truth settle in the air around all of them. Then she exhaled once and looked straight at Jason. "My husband is waiting." Jason's mouth dropped open. Claire's eyes widened. The entire mall seemed to hold its breath. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give a future to children and women who have been abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Also, let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from, and how did this story speak to you? People whispered Daniel's name before he even stepped inside. They didn't know who he was, but they felt it. His presence moved through the mall like a quiet shift in the air, the kind that made strangers straighten their backs and pull their voices down. Daniel walked in with calm steps. Nothing rushed, nothing dramatic. His eyes went straight to Emily. He didn't look at the crowd or Jason or anyone else, only her. Emily felt her breath loosen the second he reached her side. He touched her arm gently, checking her without making a scene. "Are you all right?" he asked in a soft voice that still carried authority. She nodded. "I'm fine." He studied her face for a moment, then looked at Jason, who tried to stand tall but failed. Daniel's expression didn't change. There was no anger, no shout, nothing loud, just a quiet intensity that felt colder than rage. "What happened?" Daniel asked Emily. Before she could speak, Jason forced a laugh. "This is all a misunderstanding. I didn't know she had company." Daniel didn't even glance at him. "Emily," she gave a calm, simple answer. "He shoved me." Jason stiffened. "It wasn't like that," he said quickly, the words tripping out of him. "She was in the way and the place was crowded, and she took it wrong." Daniel's jaw didn't move, but his eyes sharpened. It was enough to make 2 teenagers near them step back. "If you put your hands on her," Daniel said quietly, "even once, that is enough." Jason swallowed hard. "You've got it wrong." Emily didn't add anything. Her silence cornered him more than anything she could have said. Daniel let the tension sit for a moment before turning to Emily again. "Do you want to go home?" "Please," she whispered. He nodded once. His men closed in smoothly, making a space around the 2 of them. The crowd parted like water. Jason watched all of it with rising panic. He stepped forward. "Wait, Emily, did you tell him anything? I mean, about us? About the past?" Emily looked at him without blinking. She didn't answer. That silence rattled him. His face twitched, his confidence slipping. "You didn't tell him, right? You wouldn't twist it. You know how things went between us." Daniel lifted his head slightly. That was enough for his men to step between Jason and Emily with an unspoken warning. Emily leaned closer to Daniel and said softly, "Let's go." He placed his hand lightly on her back, guiding her out. Jason stood frozen, his mouth open like he needed to justify himself before the world collapsed under him. Claire and Helen hurried toward Emily from across the mall. Claire's voice cracked. "Emily, wait. We need to talk. We didn't know. You should have told us." But Emily kept walking. Daniel didn't look at them. His silence stung them worse than any harsh word. As they stepped outside toward the black car, Claire grabbed Helen's arm so tight that Helen gasped. "She's lying," Claire whispered. "She has to be lying. There is no way she married a man like that." Helen stared, shaken. "Claire, please, lower your voice." "No," Claire hissed. "Did you see those men? They called her Mrs. Hale. That can't be true. Emily, married to someone like him. She must have tricked him or something." "She wouldn't," Helen whispered. But the doubt was there. Claire pulled out her phone. "If she won't tell us the truth, we'll find it another way. I know someone who works with a reporter. They'll dig until something cracks." Helen looked horrified. "Claire, that's too far." "Not if she's lying," Claire said. "And honestly, I bet she is." Emily didn't hear any of it. She slid into the back seat of the car beside Daniel. The door closed. The chaos stayed outside. For a moment, she didn't speak. She felt the sting of Jason's shove still on her skin, but the deeper ache came from what she had overheard earlier. The way her family still sided with him. The way they talked about her like she couldn't stand without someone holding her up. Daniel reached for her hand gently. "You don't need to talk about anything until you're ready." She leaned back, letting her head rest against the seat. "He hasn't changed. Not at all." "No," Daniel agreed. "Men like him rarely do." His voice had no judgment, only observation. Emily let her shoulders relax for the first time all evening. The driver pulled away from the curb, and the mall disappeared behind them. After a few minutes of silence, Daniel looked at her again. "Emily, that wasn't the first time he behaved like this, was it?" She knew what he was really asking. She shook her head. "He treated me badly for years. But back then, everyone believed him. Even my own family." Daniel's eyes softened. "And now?" She gave a sad smile. "Now they still believe him." Daniel didn't respond right away. He watched her for a long moment, then said in a low voice, "I am sorry you went through that alone." "It's different now," she said. "I'm not alone anymore." His hand tightened around hers for a brief second. It said more than any speech could. When they reached her mother's house, Daniel got out with her. Claire and Helen stood on the porch waiting, both pale, both trying to look composed. Claire stepped forward with forced confidence. "We didn't know you were with someone," she said, trying to smile at Daniel. "This is unexpected." Daniel nodded politely. "Emily needed support tonight. I'm glad I could come." Claire blinked, clearly thrown off by how normal and calm he seemed. She had expected arrogance, or distance, or some kind of cold billionaire stereotype. She didn't know what to do with a man who spoke gently without lowering his power. Helen stepped closer. "We're glad she has someone," she said, but her voice wavered. Emily looked between them, reading every twitch, every swallowed word. Claire was planning something. Helen was torn but tilting toward Claire's influence, as always. Daniel sensed their discomfort and kept his hand lightly at the small of Emily's back. Not possessive, simply supportive. It changed the tone of the whole porch. Claire's eyes flicked down to where his hand rested. Something sharp flashed through her expression. Jealousy, maybe. Resentment. Something ugly. Daniel gave Emily one last look, brushing his thumb across her knuckles. "Call me if you need anything. Anything at all." "I will," she said softly. He kissed her forehead, simple and intimate, then stepped back and let his men open the car door. Claire's mouth dropped a little at the gesture. Helen's hand trembled near her chest. The car drove off, leaving the three women in uneasy silence. Claire broke first. "Okay, Emily, you expect us to believe that man is your husband?" Emily walked past her toward the door. "Believe what you want." "That's not an answer," Claire snapped, following her inside. "How did you meet him? When did you get married? Why didn't you tell us?" "Because it wasn't your business," Emily said quietly. Helen closed the door behind them. "Emily, this is sudden. Daniel seems very, well, successful." Emily didn't turn around. "He is," Claire scoffed. "So what did you do? Trick him? Hide your past? Lie about who you were? Emily stopped and turned just enough to look at her. No, I didn't lie about anything. He knows everything about me. Claire's jaw clenched like that ruined her entire argument. You expect the world to accept this when you've always needed help from everyone? Come on. What did you tell him to get him to marry you? Emily stared at her with a calm that unnerved Claire. Nothing, Emily said. I didn't chase him. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't pretend. He chose me. Claire's face twitched with something dark. Helen tried to soothe the tension. Emily, sweetheart, we're just trying to make sense of things. We want to know the truth. You want control, Emily said softly. Not truth. After Emily went to her room, Claire pulled Helen into the kitchen. She's hiding something, Claire hissed. You saw how calm she was? She's lying about him. She's hiding something big. Helen pressed her hands together. Claire, stop. She seemed happy. That's the problem, Claire whispered. Emily has never been happy. Not really. Something's off. I'm calling Megan and she'll connect us with a reporter. They can dig into Emily's marriage. If she's lying or hiding something, we'll know. Helen shook her head weakly. Claire, please. She's your sister. And she's dangerous when she hides things, Claire said. Emily didn't hear any of that. She sat on her bed with the lamp turned low, holding her phone as Daniel's name appeared on the screen. You didn't tell me everything, did you? Emily swallowed. About what? About him. She blinked. What about him? Daniel hesitated, then sent another message. He once pitched a proposal to my company. A very dishonest one. He was blacklisted for it. Emily's heart dropped. Jason? What was the proposal? Daniel replied. He was trying to use someone's name to get access. He never said who. I think I know now. Emily stared at the message. Jason hadn't come back into her life for closure. He wanted access to her husband's world. And Claire had helped him. Her chest tightened. The walls felt too close. Everything from her past was reaching for her again, even though she had climbed out. And the worst part was knowing this wasn't the end. This was only the start. Emily barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Jason's smirk, Claire's suspicious stare, Daniel's worried message. By sunrise, she felt the weight of everything pressing on her again. She got up, washed her face, and tried to steady her breathing. She stepped into the kitchen hoping for quiet, but Claire was already there, scrolling her phone with a grin too satisfied for this early in the morning. Helen sat at the table, stirring her tea without drinking it. Claire looked up. Morning, she said with fake sweetness. Sleep well? Fine, Emily said, brushing past her. Claire leaned her elbows on the counter. You know, it's interesting. I searched Daniel last night. Your husband is basically a ghost. Rich, private, barely any photos. Almost like he's too good to be true. Emily kept her back to her. He values privacy. Convenient, Claire said. Helen tried to calm her. Claire? No, Claire said, eyes locked on Emily. If Emily wants to run around claiming she's married to some billionaire, shouldn't she be able to prove it? Emily turned slowly. I don't have to prove anything to you. Claire smirked. Then you won't mind when other people start asking questions? Helen finally spoke. Claire, enough. Emily didn't stay to hear more. She walked out of the house and took a long breath on the porch. Her phone buzzed in her hand. Daniel, are you all right? She answered honestly. Not really. Want me to come get you? She closed her eyes. No, not yet. He paused before replying. Then tell me what you need. Emily wished she knew. Everything felt tangled. She started walking to clear her head. The morning air helped, but her thoughts stayed messy. She reached the small coffee shop she used to go to when life felt overwhelming. It still smelled the same. It still felt like a hiding place. She ordered a drink and found a quiet corner. As she sat, a voice startled her. Emily. She looked up. Katie, an old co-worker from years ago, someone who used to sit with her on lunch breaks and complain about Jason's ego before Emily realized how deep his betrayals went. Katie, Emily said softly. Katie hugged her tight. I heard you were back. How have you been? Wait, no, let me guess. Jason already made your life hell again. Emily gave a tired smile. Something like that. Katie sat across from her. He hasn't changed. Actually, he's worse now. Thinks he's some business genius. Brags about his past like he's proud of it. Emily's stomach tightened. What exactly does he brag about? Katie leaned closer. You! Emily froze. Katie sighed. Look, I didn't know how to tell you back then, and you were already dealing with too much. But Jason used to brag about cheating on you long before you found out. He told people you were practice until he found someone with real value. Emily went still. Her fingers tightened around the cup. Katie reached out. I'm sorry, he talked like he owned you. It was awful. Emily swallowed, fighting the quiet ache in her chest. She thought she had grown past the hurt, but hearing the truth spoken out loud still cut deep. Thank you for telling me, Emily said softly. Of course. Katie hesitated. Are you okay? Need anything? Emily forced a small smile. I'll be fine. But she wasn't. Not yet. She left the shop and stepped outside, letting the cold air hit her face. She wanted to call Daniel, to hear his voice steady her, but something in her resisted. She needed to gather her own strength before leaning on his. She walked down the street slowly, thinking things through. Jason cheated on her long before their breakup. He bragged about it. He talked about her like she was nothing, and now he had come back into her life pretending he cared, pretending he wanted closure. But he didn't want closure. He wanted access. Daniel had confirmed it last night. Jason had tried to use someone's identity to get into Hale Corporation, and the timing matched when he started calling Emily again. Jason didn't want her. He wanted her connection. Emily felt anger rise for the first time in years. Not sadness, not fear, anger, controlled and clear. Her phone chimed again. She checked the message. It wasn't from Daniel. It was a news alert. The headline punched her in the chest. Local woman allegedly manipulates reclusive CEO into sudden marriage sources, claimed troubled past and financial motives. Emily's hands shook. She opened the article. Photos of her from the mall, pictures of Daniel cropped in a way that made him look distant and cold. Quotes from unnamed sources saying she had a history of unstable behavior and clingy tendencies. Someone had fed them lies. Someone close. Her heart pounded. She called Daniel. He picked up on the first ring. Emily? Did you see it? She whispered. Yes. His voice was steady. We can shut this down. I'll make a statement right now. No, Emily said. Wait. I want to see how far this goes. I want to see who else turns on me. Daniel exhaled slowly. Emily, don't let this hurt you. It already does, she said. But I need to know the truth. There was a long pause. I'm here. Whatever you decide, I'm here. She hung up and wiped her eyes before the tears could form. When she returned to her mother's house, Claire and Helen were in the living room. Claire jumped when she saw her. Emily, oh, wow. So that article, that's crazy. We had nothing to do with it. Helen nodded fast. Nothing at all. Emily stared at them, reading every flicker of guilt. I see, she said. Claire forced a laugh. I mean, how would they even know anything about you? You haven't been around in years. Helen wrung her hands. Maybe someone saw you with that man and made assumptions. Emily kept her voice soft. Maybe. Claire's eyes darted to her phone. Well, anyway, we're here for you. Always. Emily didn't answer. She turned and went to her room. Her phone buzzed again. Another message, unknown number. No words, just a photo. Emily's breath caught. It was Jason and Claire. Not from today, not recent. Old. Jason's arm around Claire. Claire leaning into him, his hand on her waist, her smile soft and secret. Their heads close. Too close. The truth hit like ice. Jason hadn't cheated on her with strangers. He had cheated with Claire. And Claire hadn't just betrayed her now. She had betrayed her from the beginning. The betrayal wasn't new. It wasn't recent. It wasn't accidental. It had started before Emily even knew she was losing them. Emily stared at the photo, her breath gone, the room spinning. Then another message came, a text attached to the photo. You should have known. They always chose each other over you. Emily didn't remember opening the living room door. She only remembered the photo in her hand, the way her fingers trembled. and the heat rising up her neck as she stared at Claire sitting on the couch like nothing had ever happened. "We need to talk," Emily said, her voice low and steady. Claire looked up with mild annoyance, not guilt. "About what now?" Emily held the phone out. The photo glowed bright between them. "Explain this." Helen leaned closer, squinting. "Is that you and Jason?" Claire's expression didn't flicker the way an innocent person's would. Instead, her jaw tightened and her eyes hardened. She looked cornered, but arrogant enough to pretend she wasn't. "Where did you get that?" Claire asked sharply. "It doesn't matter," Emily said. "Explain why you were with him like that." "During the time I was with him," Claire scoffed. "Oh, please, it's an old picture." "That's your explanation?" Emily's voice cracked, not loud but sharp. "You were cheating with him while he was with me." Claire crossed her arms. "You pushed him to cheat." Emily blinked. "What?" Helen stood slowly, anxiety building in her posture. "Girls, maybe we should calm down." "No," Claire snapped. "She wants the truth? Fine. Jason and I got close because you were impossible to deal with. You cried. You accused him of cheating all the time. You smothered him. What did you expect him to do?" Emily stared at her. "Not betray me with my own sister." Claire lifted her chin. "He needed someone stable." Emily felt something inside her crack. "You were with him while telling me he was loyal." "You were too dramatic to hear the truth," Claire said. Emily turned to Helen, desperate for one person to see reality. "Mom, you didn't know about this." Helen rubbed her forehead. I thought they were just friends." "You believed her?" Emily whispered. Helen didn't answer. That was answer enough. Emily inhaled sharply. "Jason didn't cheat because I pushed him. He cheated because he wanted to, and you helped him." "You're not a victim," Claire said. "Stop acting like one." Emily's hand shook around the phone. "I'm not acting, I'm reacting." Claire rolled her eyes. "Here we go again. Same old Emily. Everything hurts you. Everything is betrayal. Maybe look at what you did to drive people away." Emily didn't know how she was still standing, but she forced her voice to stay level. "I loved you, both of you, and you chose him over me." Claire didn't deny it. She didn't even soften. Helen stepped closer, voice trembling. "Emily, sweetheart, you have to understand. Jason told us things. He said you were unstable. He said he didn't feel safe. He told us you needed space." Emily felt ice slide through her chest. "What things?" Helen's eyes dropped. "He said you had angry episodes, that you threatened him, that he was scared of you." Emily stumbled back. "You believe that?" "He was so convincing," Helen said quietly. "He said he needed help, and he offered money to keep the peace." Emily froze. "Money?" Helen's silence was confirmation. Emily's voice broke. "He paid you to stay away from me," Helen whispered. "It wasn't like that." "It was exactly like that," Emily said. "He bought your loyalty." Claire stepped in front of Helen like a shield. "You weren't stable back then, Emily. Jason said he needed protection from you." Emily laughed once, hollow. "And you needed the money." Claire's face reddened. "We did what we had to." "No," Emily said. "You did what benefited you." She felt dizzy, like the floor had dropped 2 inches and kept dropping. The betrayal wasn't a moment. It was a history, a pattern. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Another strike. A video this time. She tapped it before she could think. Emily saw herself on the screen, younger, crying, begging Jason to tell her the truth about where he'd been. Her voice trembled. Her hands shook. Her chest heaved. Jason had filmed her without her knowing. The caption read, "She's been unstable for years. Her husband deserves the truth." Emily's stomach twisted. She felt like she was watching a younger version of herself drown, and the world was dragging her down again. Claire leaned forward. "Oh, that's not a good look, Emily." Emily turned, horrified. "You knew he recorded me." "I didn't tell him to," Claire said. "But honestly, you look exactly how you acted. Overdramatic." Helen whispered. "Emily, this is not helping your image." "My image?" Emily asked. "Is that all you care about?" Her phone vibrated again. A flood of notifications, comments, shares, mocking words from strangers. She closed everything. She couldn't breathe. She walked out the door without looking back. Claire called after her, but Emily didn't hear the words. She just walked until the street was quiet enough for her thoughts to catch up. Her phone buzzed. Daniel. Emily? Where are you? I saw the video. She swallowed hard. I need time. She sat on a curb and put her face in her hands. She wasn't crying. Not yet. She was too numb, too overwhelmed, too hollow. Her phone buzzed again. A new message. A notification she didn't recognize. Debt alert. She clicked it. A credit card account. Opened in her old name. Years ago. Debt stacked into the thousands. Another account. Another. And another. Emily's heartbeat stumbled. Her identity had been used. Not accidentally. Not recently. For years. And only one group of people had access to the old documents she left behind. Her family. Her breath stuttered. Daniel's name appeared again. Emily, what's happening? She typed slowly. I think someone used my identity. There's debt I never opened. Daniel replied almost instantly. I can fix this. Say the word. I will clear everything. No, she whispered. Not yet. I need to face it. She meant it. She needed to see exactly how deep the betrayal ran before she let someone else clean it up. She stood, wiped her face, and started toward the house again. She was shaking, but she was done hiding, done letting anyone else speak for her. Inside, she found Helen whispering to Claire, both of them silent the moment she stepped in. Emily looked at them with new clarity, not hope, not love, not longing, truth. And that truth cut, but it also woke something in her. She walked past them to her room to think, to breathe, to anchor herself before confronting the rest. She needed a moment alone. Her phone buzzed again. A new message, this time from an unknown number. Emily clicked it without thinking, and her heart dropped. It was a chat screenshot between Claire and Megan, her closest friend, her confidant, the one person she thought she could trust, and the messages were unmistakable. I'll send everything I know. The tabloid is paying double. She's hiding something. They want all the dirt. Emily stared at the screen until everything blurred. Another betrayal, not accidental, intentional, paid. Her world was shrinking by the second, pulling her into the smallest version of herself. She sat on the edge of the bed, her breath thin, her vision dimming. This wasn't rock bottom yet, but she was close enough to feel the ground crumble. Emily didn't know how long she sat on the bed staring at the messages from Megan. Betrayal was beginning to feel like a language she had been forced to learn fluently. Every person she once trusted had spoken it to her in different ways. Claire with jealousy, Helen with fear, Jason with cruelty, Megan with greed. Her phone buzzed again. Daniel, Emily, please answer me. I'm worried, she typed slowly. I'm okay. I just need space. He paused. I can come there. Just say yes. Emily wiped her face. Not yet. Please. She meant it. She needed to stand on her own 2 feet for at least one moment before she leaned on someone else. Maybe for the first time in her life. When she finally walked out of her room, Helen was waiting in the hallway. Her eyes were anxious, hands wringing together. Emily, your sister's upset. Things got out of hand. Emily didn't slow her steps. I'm not talking about this right now. Helen followed her. We didn't mean to hurt you. We were confused. We thought Jason needed help. Emily turned, voice low. You believed him more than your own daughter. That wasn't confusion. That was choice. Helen flinched, but Emily couldn't soften anymore. She was tired of being the only one who bent. Claire came around the corner holding her phone. Her expression was tight, irritated. Are you going to keep blaming us for everything you ruined? Emily met her eyes. You stole my boyfriend, took money from him, called a reporter on me, and opened accounts in my name. I didn't ruin anything. I just finally saw the truth. Claire's lips twisted. You always exaggerate. Mom and I were just... Stop lying. Emily's voice came out sharper than she expected. I'm done pretending. Claire's mask cracked. You're unbelievable. No, Emily said quietly. Just awake. She walked out the front door before either of them could say anything else. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she needed distance before she drowned in everything she had learned. Outside, the air felt thin. She sat on the steps and let the silence press against her. Her phone vibrated in her hand. New message. From Megan herself. Emily, please don't freak out. I can explain. Emily stared at the text until anger burned off the numbness inside her. Explain what? She typed. That you sold my private life for money? A pause. It wasn't like that. Claire said the reporter already knew things. I just added details. You added messages I trusted you with, Emily replied. You sent photos from my worst moments, Megan answered quickly. I needed the money, and Claire said you wouldn't find out. Emily almost dropped the phone. The lack of remorse hit harder than the betrayal. We're done, she wrote. Don't contact me again. She blocked the number before Megan could reply. She leaned forward, elbows on her knees, head in her hands. She felt hollow, tired, lost in a way she hadn't felt since her early 20s, when Jason convinced the world she was the problem and everyone believed him. Her phone rang, Daniel again. She let it ring, but the sound cut deeper each time. When she finally answered on the fourth try, her voice cracked. Daniel? His voice softened instantly. Where are you? Outside, she whispered. At the house. I'm coming. Please don't, she said quickly. I need time to think. Daniel hesitated. Tell me what happened. Please. Emily swallowed hard. Everything. Jason used my family. My family took money to push me away. My friends sold my secrets. And now, there's debt in my name that I never opened. Daniel breathed out slowly, like he was steadying himself. Emily, let me fix this. Let me help. She shook her head even though he couldn't see it. If you fix it, I'll never know who did what. I won't know the truth. Daniel whispered, The truth hurts you. Emily rested her forehead against her knees. It hurts either way. He was silent for a long moment. Then softly, There's something I didn't tell you. I was trying to protect you, but maybe I should have told you sooner. Emily stiffened. What is it? Daniel sighed. I knew about Jason years before you told me anything. I didn't know who he was to you, but I knew he was dangerous. I knew he had tried to use someone's name to access Hale Corporation, and when we met, I suspected it was you. I wanted to warn you, but I didn't want to intrude on your life without your permission. Emily felt the world tilt again. Daniel, you knew something about him, and never said anything? I didn't want to come into your life as another man telling you what to do, Daniel said quietly. I was trying to respect your autonomy, but maybe I chose wrong. Emily's voice trembled. You should have told me. You should have trusted me with the truth. I'm sorry, Daniel said. I truly am. Emily's chest rose and fell unevenly. She didn't doubt his sincerity. She didn't doubt his care. But she suddenly felt the weight of every silence around her, every withheld truth, every decision made without her. I need time, she whispered. Please. Emily, his voice was pained. Don't shut me out. I'm not, she said softly. I just need to breathe. She hung up before he could respond. Her hands shook afterward. She walked down the street without direction, without clarity. She didn't know what she would say to Daniel next. She didn't know who to trust anymore. She barely trusted herself to hold everything together. Her footsteps slowed only when she heard someone call her name. Emily. She froze. Jason stood at the edge of a parking lot, leaning casually against a street lamp like he had all the time in the world. His smile curled into something cold. He stepped closer. Rough day? She didn't speak. Jason moved with slow, confident strides until he stood inches from her. Your husband is going to be very disappointed soon. Emily felt her stomach twist. Get away from me, Jason chuckled. Relax. I'm just giving you a heads up. When he learns the truth about you, he'll run so fast your head will spin. There is no truth you can use against me, Emily said. Not anymore. Oh, sweetheart, Jason murmured. There's always something. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded document. He flicked it open with practiced ease and held it out. You might want to see this before he does. Emily stared at the paper. Her name, her address from years ago, her old signature, a signature she recognized, a signature she had never written. Her breath caught in her throat. "What is this?" she whispered. Jason smiled like he had been waiting for her to ask. Emily stared at the document in Jason's hand, her pulse rising in her ears. Her signature sat at the bottom of the page in neat blue ink, the swoop of the E, the curl on the Y, identical to the way she used to sign everything before she left this town. But she had never seen this paper before, never signed anything like it. "What is this?" she whispered again. Jason smiled like he enjoyed her confusion. "A transfer authorization. Looks official, doesn't it?" She forced herself to breathe. "Transfer to who?" He held it up so the streetlight lit the page. "To me, from Hale Corporation." Her stomach dropped. "That's insane. I've never had access to Hale Corp accounts. I've never even—" "That's what makes this fun," Jason said softly. "Daniel's board won't care whether you say it's forged. A signature is a signature, and with the right timing, people will believe anything about a woman with your past." Emily's voice caught fire. "Why are you doing this?" Jason stepped closer, smirking. "Because you walked away. Because you think you found someone better than me. And because you forgot who taught you everything you know about love." Emily recoiled. "You didn't teach me love. You taught me survival." Jason laughed once, cold and sharp. "Well, survival is what you'll need now." She clenched her jaw. "Daniel won't believe this." Jason tilted his head. "But everyone else will. The public, his investors, his board. You're already trending as an unstable wife with a messy past. This document is the last push. Daniel will have to protect himself." Emily shook her head, refusing to let fear swallow her. "He's not like you." Jason leaned in. "Everyone is like me when their reputation is on the line." Emily stepped back, refusing to let him see her break. "I won't let you win." "Sweetheart," he said, tucking the document back into his jacket, "you already lost. I'm giving Daniel a copy tonight." Emily didn't wait. She turned and walked away fast. She could hear Jason calling her name, but she didn't stop. Her breath came quick and tight as she hurried down the quiet street. The lights blurred. The cold cut through her coat. She fumbled for her phone and called Daniel. He picked up instantly. "Emily?" Her voice shook. "He's trying to frame me." "Where are you?" Daniel's tone dropped into something firm and focused. "Near Oak Street. Jason showed me a document. He forged my signature. It says I approved a transfer from your company. I've never seen anything like it. He said he's giving a copy to your board." There was a pause, but not a fearful one. It was the sound of Daniel thinking fast. "Emily," he said quietly, "listen to me. Go somewhere safe. I'm coming now." "Daniel, I believe you." Those 3 words made her knees weaken. "You don't even know the details." "I don't need them. You didn't do this." Her eyes filled. "He thinks you'll choose your company over me." Daniel's voice grew steady, stronger. "I choose you. Always." She let out a shaky breath, one hand pressed to her temple. "I don't understand why he's doing all this," Daniel exhaled. "Because he's desperate, and because he thinks you're the same girl he broke all those years ago." Emily closed her eyes. "I'm not." "I know," Daniel said, "and soon everyone else will too." Minutes later, headlights pulled into view. Daniel stepped out of the car before it fully stopped. His expression carried none of the hesitation or doubt Jason promised she'd see. He walked straight to her and cupped her face in his hands. "Show me what he gave you." Emily nodded and pulled up a photo she took of the document the moment she walked away from Jason. Daniel studied it under the streetlight, his jaw tensed, but not in confusion, in recognition. Finally, he said, "I know this," Emily blinked. "What?" "This signature forgery," Daniel explained. "Jason tried it once before, on someone else, years ago." Her breath caught. "You've seen this?" "I've seen his work," Daniel said. "He tried to use your name when he pitched a proposal to Hale Corp. I didn't know then that it was you. But the handwriting, the formatting, the chain of accounts, everything is the same." Emily felt a shock run through her. "You knew he forged my name before?" "I suspected, but I didn't have proof." Daniel looked at her softly. I was waiting for you to be ready to talk about your past. I didn't want to force anything. Emily swallowed, guilt pressing against her ribs. I thought you were hiding things from me. He brushed a thumb across her cheek. I was waiting, not hiding. She leaned into his palm, heart aching. What do we do now? We investigate, he said simply. We gather evidence. We expose every lie, and we end this. Emily nodded, strength settling back into her bones. When they reached the house, Claire and Helen were at the door, faces tight with worry. Not for Emily, but for themselves. Daniel didn't bother with greetings. Where are the financial papers? Helen stammered. What? What papers? The ones Jason paid you through, Daniel said calmly. We know about the deposits. We know about the debts opened in Emily's name. Claire stepped forward, face flushed. You can't talk to us like that. This is our home. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. This is the place where Emily was manipulated, silenced, and used. I'll speak how I need to. Emily watched her mother shrink back slightly, not from anger, but guilt. That alone was new. Helen whispered, Claire, we can't keep lying. Claire whipped around, eyes flashing. Mom, stop talking. You need to tell the truth, Helen said shakily. He already knows. No, Claire hissed. He thinks he knows, but he doesn't know everything. Daniel took out a folder from the inside of his coat. Actually, he said, I do. Claire's voice cracked. What's that? Phone records, Daniel said. Transcripts, payments from Jason, calls between you and the reporter, the forged accounts in Emily's name, and recordings of you discussing the signature. Helen gasped. Recordings? Daniel nodded. Your conversations weren't as private as you thought. Claire's face drained. You can't prove anything. Daniel stepped aside, letting Emily see the folder. She froze. At the top was her forged signature. Below it, time-stamped screenshots of Claire texting Jason about getting rid of Emily for good. Something inside Emily went very still and very cold and very clear. Claire, she said softly, you did this? Claire shook her head violently. No, Jason told me to send those documents. He planned it, not me. Daniel met Emily's eyes. He didn't plan the forgery. She did. Emily felt the truth settle, sharp and certain. Claire wasn't Jason's victim. Claire wasn't misguided. Claire wasn't confused. She was the architect. Claire's lips trembled. I just wanted what you had. Emily stared at her. You wanted Daniel. Claire's breath hitched. Why you? You were always the weak one, the emotional one, the one who needed fixing. You don't deserve someone like him. Emily took a slow breath. So you tried to destroy me. Claire stepped back. You don't understand. If you were out of the way, he would have seen me. Daniel didn't flinch. I never would have. Claire's face twisted. You don't know that. You would have chosen me. I'm the strong one. I'm the one who does what needs to be done. No, Emily said softly. You're the one who hurts people to feel strong. Helen burst into tears. Claire, how could you? Claire said nothing. Emily didn't feel anger anymore, just heartbreak and clarity. And yet the night wasn't over. Before they could say anything else, headlights appeared at the end of the street. A car, fast, pulling up to the house. Emily froze. Jason. What happened next would change everything. Jason stepped out of the car with a reckless confidence that didn't match the panic flickering behind his eyes. He slammed the door shut and marched toward the porch, ignoring the way Daniel's security team moved subtly into position. He looked only at Emily as if she were still his to intimidate. Emily, he said, forcing a smile, we need to talk, alone. Daniel stepped forward before Emily could speak. You won't be speaking to her alone, or ever again. Jason laughed, but it shook at the edges. You think you can control this? You think she'll be clean when the truth comes out? Emily met his eyes calmly. The truth already came out. Yours is coming next. Jason's smile faltered. What do you think you know? Daniel opened the folder he held. Everything. He handed Emily a sheet. She looked down. Security footage. From the mall. Not just the shove. Not just the insults. Footage of Jason cornering her. Footage of him blocking her path. footage of him grabbing her arm hard enough to make her recoil. Jason's face went pale. That means nothing. Daniel pulled another document. Signed statements from witnesses who heard you threaten her. Jason's jaw clenched. People lie for money. Daniel held up a third document. A transcript of your calls to the tabloid. Your voice. Your number. Jason froze. And this, Daniel added, pulling out a final paper, is evidence you attempted the same forgery 2 years ago with a different identity. Emily watched Jason's confidence crumble in slow motion. His hands shook, his breathing grew uneven, and his eyes darted from Daniel to the documents to Emily, as if searching for one last weapon. You think you can pin this all on me? He said. She signed that transfer. I have it right. Daniel stepped forward with quiet finality. We know she didn't sign it. Emily handed over the forged paper Jason had shown her. Daniel placed it beside the verified samples Emily's attorney had sent earlier. The differences screamed off the page. Jason stepped back. You can't prove. We already did, Daniel said. Your printer, your timestamps, your drafts saved on your cloud account. You left a trail a child could follow. Helen gasped softly. Claire staggered back against the wall. Jason grabbed at his hair, panic blooming. No, Claire helped with that. She told me to send those documents. She told me it would ruin Emily. Claire's denial came instantly. You liar! You were the one who wanted her gone, not me. Jason pointed at her. You said Daniel would notice you if she was out of the picture. Claire's voice cracked. You're twisting everything. Daniel watched them unravel with a calm, steady gaze. This ends tonight. Jason turned to Emily, tears of rage building. You did this. You turned them all against me. Emily shook her head slowly. You did that to yourself. Jason took a shaky step toward her, but 3 security guards moved at once, blocking his path. He stopped, chest heaving, face red with fury and humiliation. You think he'll keep you? Jason spat. You think you're safe now? Daniel stepped between them. She is safe. You're not. 2 guards stepped forward. Mr. Hale? Daniel nodded. They closed in around Jason. Wait, Jason screamed. This isn't over. She ruined my life. You ruined your own life, Emily said quietly, and you dragged everyone down with you. Jason thrashed uselessly as the guards escorted him to the car. His last words were a broken echo. She was nothing. Nothing. Emily didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She didn't break. She simply watched him disappear into the night as his voice faded into nothing but noise. When the car pulled away, the street felt painfully quiet. Helen collapsed onto the porch step, face in her hands. Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Emily stood still. You chose to believe him. You chose to hurt me. You chose to take money to stay away from your daughter. Helen sobbed harder, but Emily didn't move toward her. Not this time. She didn't have forgiveness ready. She didn't even know if forgiveness would ever come. Claire wiped her face, streaks of mascara on her cheeks. Emily, I didn't mean for it to go this far. I wanted something of my own. I felt like you always had everything. Emily's voice was soft but firm. Claire, I had nothing. I barely survived, and you still wanted to take the little I had left. Claire covered her mouth, shaking. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Emily nodded once. You don't. Silence fell. Heavy, honest. Daniel walked up beside Emily and took her hand gently, grounding her, anchoring her. What do you want to do? He asked. Emily looked at the house, the place filled with memories of wanting love she never received, trying to earn trust that was never given, chasing acceptance that was always out of reach. She let out a slow breath. I'm done here. Helen choked on a sob. Claire's shoulders crumpled inward. Emily didn't turn back. I'm choosing myself now, she said quietly, and I can't do that here. She stepped off the porch. Daniel walked with her, matching her pace. As they reached the gate, he spoke again. The charges are ready: fraud, identity theft, blackmail. The attorneys will handle everything. Emily nodded. Good. You sure? He asked softly. Yes. Her voice didn't waver. Let the truth do what it needs to do. Daniel squeezed her hand, pride in his eyes. You did this, not me. You stood up. You faced them. Emily took a deep, steady breath. I'm not afraid of them anymore. Reporters were already gathering down the street, alerted by the breaking news of Jason's arrest. Cameras flickered. Voices rose. Microphones pointed toward her. Emily didn't shrink the way she once would have. She didn't hide behind Daniel. She stepped forward, shoulders squared, chin lifted. Daniel stayed beside her, but he didn't overshadow her. He let her stand in her own strength. Reporters shouted questions. Emily, did you know about the fraud? Why did Jason target you? How do you feel after the betrayal? Are you afraid more secrets will come out? Emily lifted her voice clearly, not loud but certain. The truth came out, and that's enough. One last question cut through the chaos. Emily, what have you learned from all of this? She paused. Her answer came from a place deeper than fear, deeper than hurt, deeper than anger. Cruelty is loud, she said, greedy, desperate, but self-respect is quiet, steady, and people who mistake silence for weakness usually learn the truth too late. The reporters went silent for a beat, stunned. Daniel looked at her with a warmth she felt down to her bones. The cameras flashed. Emily didn't blink. She didn't hide. She stepped forward into the lights unafraid, her past unable to touch her anymore. And just like that, she walked into the life she finally chose for herself.